For unsuspecting animals that came to the water's edge to drink, there was no warning. The attack was an eruption of primal fury. A creature would be snatched from the bank and dragged into the murky depths before it could even cry out. Underwater, the battle was already over. Titanoboa would coil its immense body around its prey, and the pressure would be relentless. Once the struggle ceased, the giant serpent would retreat into the dark. The slightest scent of an intruder, a small carnivorous dinosaur perhaps, would be met with a defensive strike of incredible speed and precision, driving the threat away before it could even get close. She was the guardian of the next generation of giants, but even giants can fall. The world that allowed Titanoboa to grow. The air grew thick with smoke from distant volcanoes, and then the sky itself fell. A meteor strike, a cataclysmic event, sent a shockwave across the land, sealing the fate of the remaining prehistoric life. The age of the Titans was over. Today, 60 million years ago, long after the dinosaurs fell, a new giant ruled the earth. In the steamy, primordial jungles of what is now Vietnam, the air was thick, the rivers were deep, and the world belonged to a true titan. As dawn breaks through the dense fog, the prehistoric swamp stirs. The water trembles, not from thunder, but from something far more immense moving just beneath the surface. Slowly, a head the size of a man emerges, water cascading from its iridescent scales. Its eyes, ancient and cold, open to the new day. This is Titanoboa, the largest snake that ever lived. Its body, a living river of muscle and scale, glides through the flooded forest. At an astonishing 48 feet long and weighing over a ton, it dwarfs every creature in its path. Imagine a snake longer than a school bus and heavier than a small car. When we compare its fossilized vertebrae to those of a modern anaconda, the difference is staggering. Titanoboa wasn't just big. It was a leviathan, a creature so colossal it challenges our understanding of what life on this planet is capable of. It moved through its world not as a resident, but as the landscape itself, a winding, powerful force of nature. The swamp was its kingdom, and it was the undisputed master. This vast, waterlogged ecosystem teemed with life-giant turtles, massive crocodiles, and colossal fish. But all gave way to the shadow that passed beneath the water. Titanoboa was an apex predator perfectly adapted to this aquatic realm. It could hold its breath for extended periods, stalking its prey with silent patience. We see it now, moving with terrifying grace toward a school of prehistoric fish. There's a sudden, violent explosion of water. In a blur of speed and power, it strikes. The struggle is brief. Titanoboa was a constrictor, and its strength was absolute. It would pull its victim into a deadly embrace, squeezing with a force of 400 pounds per square inch, enough to crush a modern-day truck. Its hunting technique was a masterpiece of stealth and power. As dusk settled over the river, it would lie motionless, a living log hidden just below the surface. Its eyes, positioned high on its head, allowed it to see above the water while remaining almost completely submerged. For unsuspecting animals that came to the water's edge to drink, there was no warning. The attack was an eruption of primal fury. A creature would be snatched from the bank and dragged into the murky depths before it could even cry out. Underwater, the battle was already over. Titanoboa would coil its immense body around its prey, and the pressure would be relentless. Once the struggle ceased, the giant serpent would retreat into the darkness, leaving only ripples and silence behind. The sheer power of this animal was etched into its very anatomy. Its body was a marvel of biological engineering. Beneath its thick, shimmering scales lay bands of pure muscle, allowing it to move with a deceptive speed and agility for its size. Its flexible jaw could unhinge to swallow prey wider than its own head. A necessary adaptation for consuming the giant crocodiles and fish that shared its habitat. It wasn't just strong, it was a perfectly constructed killing machine. When it shed its skin, it emerged even larger, its colors more vibrant, a symbol of constant growth and dominance. Every movement, from the flick of its tongue tasting the air for scent to the ripple of its muscles as it climbed a rocky bank, was a display of raw, untamed power. To put its strength into perspective, Titanoboa could snap a massive log in its coils without effort. It could generate enough force to crush the bones of the largest prehistoric crocodiles of its time. This was not just a predator. It was a force of nature that shaped its environment. In this ancient world, there were other giant predators, but none dared to challenge the king of the swamp. When Titanoboa rose from the water, its head and neck towering over the riverbank, even the most fearsome rivals would retreat. It ruled its territory not through constant aggression, but through an overwhelming presence that left no doubt about who was in charge. The rivers, the swamps, the dense jungles, this was all its domain. Like all reptiles, the continuation of its lineage was paramount. Deep within a hidden, steamy part of the swamp, Titanoboa would find a safe place to lay its eggs. These weren't small, delicate things, but large, leathery spheres nestled in a mound of soil and decaying vegetation, which provided the warmth needed for incubation. The female Titanoboa was a dedicated mother, coiling her massive body around the nest, guarding it with a fierce protectiveness. Her flickering tongue constantly sampled the air, detecting any potential threat. The slightest scent of an intruder, a small carnivorous dinosaur perhaps, would be met with a defensive strike of incredible speed and precision, driving the threat away before it could even get close. She was the guardian of the next generation of giants, but even giants can fall. The world that allowed Titanoboa to grow to such a colossal size was changing. The warm, stable climate of the Paleocene epoch began to cool. Over thousands of years, the lush, sprawling swamps started to dry up. The water levels dropped, the vibrant green jungles faded, and the abundant food sources dwindled. For a cold-blooded creature that relied on the ambient temperature to regulate its body, this climate shift was a death sentence. We see a landscape transformed, cracked earth. Dying ferns and the skeletons of fish and crocodiles scattered around shrinking pools of water. Titanoboa, once the undisputed king, now struggled to survive in a world that could no longer support it. The air grew thick with smoke from distant volcanoes, and then the sky itself fell. A meteor strike, a cataclysmic event, sent a shockwave across the land, sealing the fate of the remaining prehistoric life. The age of the Titans was over. Today, the jungles of Vietnam are once again lush and mysterious. But the giant serpent is gone, a ghost of a bygone era. All that remains are its fossilized bones, buried deep within the earth. Archaeologists carefully brush away layers of rock and soil, revealing the vertebrae of a creature that seems to defy imagination. But through these fossils, the legend of Titanoboa lives on. Each discovery allows us to piece together the story of this forgotten king, to resurrect it in our minds and see it glide once more through the prehistoric waters. We can imagine its world, a vibrant, dangerous, and awe-inspiring place. As we look at the rivers that wind through the modern landscape, their serpentine shapes are a silent reminder of the colossal creature that once reigned here. The king is gone, but its legacy is forever etched into the very land it once ruled. Thanks for watching. If you were amazed by the story of this prehistoric giant, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more journeys into our planet's incredible past.